Elena Morales stirred awake at 5:15 a.m., rising promptly without a moment's delay. Time was a precious commodity she simply could not waste. In 40 minutes, she was prepared, her hair neatly secured in a simple bun, wearing a crisp white shirt, and her bag packed with lunch from the night before. The subway buzzed with its usual throng of people. Elena held her stance, her gaze locked on the tattered book she clutched, choosing her words carefully to reserve strength for what was truly significant. She reached Titan Marketing at 7:30, 30 minutes ahead of the scheduled start time. She consistently showed up ahead of the other imaginative thinkers, allowing herself the space to arrange, inhale, and get ready. "Good morning, Ms. Morales." The security guard at the building recognized her personally. Always the first to arrive. Elena offered a subtle smile. Superfluous words equate to squandered energy. At the same time, 20 floors up in the penthouse of the building, David Collins was wrapping up his personal training session. Sweat trickled down his brow as he gazed at Manhattan through the expansive window. By the age of 35, he had established himself as the owner of one of New York's largest marketing agencies, amassing a fortune that continued to expand annually. The assistant placed the imported porcelain cup on the glass table, saying, "Your coffee, sir." David nodded, his gaze elsewhere, a silent acknowledgement that conveyed it all. Thankfulness felt unnecessary when assistance was simply anticipated. He donned his tailored Italian suit, straightened his silk tie, and made his way to his office. Titan Marketing took up 3 whole floors of the building. David's office embodied the essence of minimalist design, featuring a palette of gray, black, and white. Only accolades, honors, certificates, and recognitions are displayed, devoid of family photos or personal belongings. The gathering with the imaginative analysts commenced at 9:15. David positioned himself at the head of the table, scrutinizing each expression with meticulous focus. Elena possessed an intriguing quality that set her apart. Not in her appearance, always impeccably professional, but in the manner she articulates her thoughts. Clear, straightforward, and to the point. While others sought to dazzle him, she effortlessly conveyed her thoughts. He concluded the meeting by stating that they would adopt Miss Morales's approach, leaving it at that without further elaboration. Time flowed on. David started to observe recurring themes in Elena's actions. She consistently avoided dining with her coworkers, opted for homemade meals, and refrained from joining in on after-work gatherings. She existed as a solitary island, much like him, yet the reasons behind it eluded his comprehension. On Friday, David lingered into the evening, meticulously signing contracts. He gazed through the window, catching sight of Elena as she departed the building. A mysterious urge compelled him to take the elevator and pursue her. The evening air was brisk and biting. He maintained his distance, observing her as she hurried down the street for several blocks before stepping into a quaint market. After a brief interval, she emerged with a bag in hand. Captivated, David pressed on in her wake. Elena veered onto a dimly lit street, then slipped into an alleyway. For a fleeting instant, he feared she was gone forever. At that moment, his gaze fell upon her. Elena knelt on the ground amidst the improvised cardboard shelters, positioned before her 2 daughters. They appeared to be no older than 10 years. Frayed garments, tousled locks, yet a spark of joy ignited in their eyes at the sight of Elena. She remarked that she was able to gather a bit more today, as she pulled out fruits, sandwiches, and water bottles from the bag. "You came back," the smaller girl exclaimed, wrapping her arms around Elena in a tight embrace. "I consistently return, Maya, without fail." David experienced an unusual sensation in his chest. A constriction, an unusual feeling. He observed Elena as she meticulously divided the food into equal portions, listened to her inquire about their day, and noticed her gently cleaning the older child's dirty face with a moist towel. "Leah, are you feeling feverish again?" Elena gently placed her hand on the girl's forehead, her expression filled with worry. "It's just a fleeting moment, it will soon be behind us. I assure you, I will bring the medicine tomorrow. It's time to eat." David retreated, pressing himself against the cold, unforgiving wall of the alley. There was an element that felt out of place. Elena, the diligent worker who never sought a pay increase, who economized by preparing her own meals, was present, generously sharing her modest resources with 2 children from the streets. What is the reason? As she stood to depart, nearly an hour later, David had already slipped away. Yet, a shift had occurred. After years of having it all, the man found himself questioning whether he truly grasped the essence of the world around him. The following day, during the morning meeting, he regarded Elena from a new perspective. Behind that polished exterior lay an elusive quality that wealth could not procure, an intangible essence he struggled to articulate, and even more unsettling, a mystery he yearned to unravel. David was haunted by the images that lingered in his mind. For 3 days, the vision of Elena kneeling in that alley lingered in his mind. He couldn't shake the images of Leah and Maya, their eyes etched vividly in his memory. Even in the face of their evident hardship, they gazed at Elena with a profound joy, as though she embodied their whole universe. That evening, David found himself on the balcony of his penthouse, gazing out over the sprawling city below. 60 floors up, the people on the street appeared as mere specks, issues that lingered in the realm of the intangible. He had always favored it like that, neat, remote, controllable. "Is there anything more you require this evening, Mr. Collins?" his housekeeper inquired from the threshold. "Absolutely not, Margaret, you may leave now." Once more in solitude, David filled a glass with scotch. The crystal glass weighed heavily in his grasp. Every aspect of his life was of the highest caliber, meticulously chosen, yet recently it all felt empty. The following morning at the office, David couldn't help but observe Elena with heightened attention. She was as efficient as ever, immersed in her tasks, yet he began to observe different details, how she preserved the apple from her lunch, how she glanced at her watch from time to time, how she never squandered anything. In the afternoon briefing, David took a seat beside her. He praised your proposal for the Burlington account as excellent when the meeting concluded. Elena's expression was one of astonishment. "Thank you, Mr. Collins." "David," he amended. "I was curious if you could linger for a bit once everyone has departed." Her expression tightened just a bit. "Is there an issue with my writing?" "Exactly the contrary." Once they found themselves in solitude, David shut the door behind them. "I have been observing you, Elena." Her eyes grew large with surprise. "Excuse me, sir. You stand out from the crowd here. You are genuine." Elena held her tongue, cautious. David finally spoke, recalling the moment from 3 nights prior, in the alley on 23rd Street. Her complexion lost all its hue. "You decided to follow me?" He confessed that he was intrigued. "I find it puzzling that someone with your remarkable abilities chooses to bring lunch from home daily, avoids team dinners, and puts in more effort than anyone else." Elena rose to her feet, her hands quivering ever so slightly. "Am I being let go?" "Excuse me." "Absolutely not." David was truly taken aback. "What would lead me to let you go?" "Due to my circumstances. Organizations favor individuals who bring simplicity to the workplace." David reclined against his desk. "Who are these individuals?" "The young women." Elena paused, letting out a soft sigh. "They aren't my daughters, if that's what you're curious about. They simply require assistance." They were all alone in their struggle. There was an intriguing quality in her voice that compelled David to seek deeper understanding. "What was your method for discovering them?" "I once dedicated my time to a shelter as a volunteer. When it shut down because of funding reductions, numerous individuals found themselves without a place to turn. Last winter, Leah and Maya experienced the profound loss of their mother. Since that time, they have navigated their own path." "What is the situation regarding social services?" Elena's laughter carried a sharp edge. "They harbor a deep-seated fear of the system." Leah assured her mother that they would remain united. In foster care, they would probably be divided. David paused, lost in thought. You assist them daily. I make an effort to. Elena squared her shoulders. Mr. Collins, I recognize that this might put you in a difficult position, but, it doesn't put me in a difficult position, David interjected. It piques my interest. The rain began to softly tap on the windows. David glanced out the window before checking the time on his watch. The hour is growing late. Allow me to take you home. Elena began to falter, yet the rainstorm grew more fierce. All right, I appreciate it. As the elevator descended to the garage, an uncomfortable silence enveloped them. The driver of the sleek black BMW gracefully opened the door for David. Where to go next? David inquired as they nestled into the luxurious leather seats. Elena paused, uncertainty flickering in her eyes. On rainy days, I typically make it a point to visit the girls first. They have a place beneath an overhang, yet it remains damp. David acknowledged his driver with a nod. Jake, it's 23rd Street. The vehicle glided effortlessly through the flow of cars. Upon arriving at the alley, Elena faced him. You're not obligated to join me. I would be happy to, if that's all right with you. The rain had tapered off to a gentle drizzle. As they strolled through the alley, Elena took the lead. David found himself feeling oddly misplaced in his lavish suit and fine Italian shoes. Elena, Maya's voice emerged from the darkness. Then she caught sight of David and recoiled. It's all right, Elena murmured gently. This is my supervisor, David. He is a friend. David knelt, his $3,000 suit pants becoming stained with mud, yet he paid it no mind. For the first time, he witnessed their world in intimate detail. A makeshift refuge crafted from cardboard and plastic, housing a few cherished possessions, a frayed book, a time-worn doll, and a jar cradling fading blooms. Leah regarded him with a wary gaze. She was older, perhaps around 9 or 10, with solemn eyes that seemed to carry the weight of experience. Do you feel a craving for something to eat? David inquired of them. Maya nodded with enthusiasm, while Leah held back, wary of the situation. Jake, David summoned his driver. Would you be able to bring us some warm meals? Anything that's nearby. As they waited, Elena assisted the girls in drying their limited belongings. David observed, sensing a transformation within himself. This was neither charity nor pity. This was a bond, something he had evaded throughout his entire existence. As the food was brought to the table, they gathered around, perched on makeshift seats of upturned crates. David Collins, a wealthy CEO, sat in a damp alley, indulging in takeout pizza, suddenly aware that he was amidst something far grander than he had ever envisioned. Following that night in the alley, a transformation occurred in David's existence. He discovered a newfound anticipation for work, not driven by the allure of deals or power dynamics, but by those fleeting instances when he could catch a glimpse of Elena. 2 weeks went by. David arranged for his driver to take them to visit the girls 3 additional times. Every encounter sparked inquiries, not solely regarding them, but also concerning his own identity. In his office one afternoon, he gazed at the wall adorned with accolades. Hollow acknowledgement from a realm constructed on the art of deception. He reached for his phone. Jake, please bring the car around. Half an hour later, he found himself in the alley, carrying a duffel bag. The girls had not arrived yet. They typically gathered with Elena once classes were over, yet he was well aware of their location. David set the bag beneath their improvised shelter and departed swiftly. The following day at the office, Elena strode confidently toward his desk. She mentioned the sleeping bags and clothes in a soft voice. That was indeed you. David gave a slight nod. They required them. Mr. Collins. David, he amended once more. David, she paused. Your efforts are commendable, yet I seek clarity on the reasoning behind them. Individuals of your kind typically refrain from participation. Do individuals appreciate my presence? He lifted an eyebrow in curiosity. Accomplished, affluent, influential. She held his gaze steadily. The type that contributes for the sake of tax benefits while maintaining a pristine image. He nearly smiled. It was her unwavering truthfulness that captivated him. Would you care to join me for dinner this evening? Not in a position of authority. Simply to converse. Elena observed him intently, then gave a slow nod. Understood. They gathered at a quaint eatery in Chelsea, far from the Michelin-starred venues David typically visited, yet it offered delightful cuisine without any airs. As they savored the pasta and sipped the wine, their dialogue unfolded effortlessly, surpassing their initial expectations. Share something about yourself, David inquired. The genuine narrative. Elena gracefully twirled the pasta around her fork. I lost my parents when I was just 16. Collision on the road. My sibling was 9 years old. He entered the system before I had the legal right to take him. By the time I reached the age of 18, he had already been adopted. He was lost to me forever. Apologies escaped David's lips in a gentle whisper. Life unfolds. She shrugged, yet he perceived the hurt lurking beneath the movement. How about you? The enigmatic David Collins. He chuckled, devoid of mirth. Not enigmatic, merely devoid. A mother who quantified affection through accomplishments. A father who was there in body but not in spirit. The timeless tale of the unfortunate wealthy youth. At this moment, you possess it all. Am I? He gazed at her. According to societal norms, you possess nothing. And yet you offer without hesitation. I possess all and offer freely. Excuse me. The remnants of my focus. Elena refrained from providing insincere reassurance. One more aspect he valued in her. With each passing week, their bond deepened and transformed. Not romance, something deeper and more intricate. David established himself as a constant figure in the girls' lives. He brought books for Leah, who eagerly consumed tales of courageous heroines. He found out that Maya had a passion for drawing and provided her with an array of art supplies. One evening, as Elena assisted Maya with her drawing, David engaged Leah in a discussion about the book he had brought for her. You have her eyes, Leah remarked unexpectedly. Whose gaze? The woman captured in this image. She retrieved a faded photograph from her pocket. A woman posed next to a Christmas tree, her smile appearing somewhat rigid as she faced the camera. David stood still. The woman stood out clearly. His mother, 3 decades his junior. Where did you obtain this? His voice had an unusual quality, even to his own ears. It was among my mother's belongings. She claimed it was my actual grandmother. Yet, I never had the chance to meet her. David captured the image with hands that shook slightly. Leah, could you tell me your mother's name? Rebecca Collins, she mentioned. Yet, all referred to her as Becky. The world swayed askew. Collins, a name that carries weight, framed by the chill of his mother's gaze reflected in this young visage. It had to mean something more. That night, David found himself unable to drift into slumber. He opened his laptop and embarked on an unprecedented endeavor. Explored his ancestral lineage. Records of birth, documents of adoption, whatever he could obtain. By morning, he had gathered ample evidence to support his doubts. He engaged a private investigator to delve further. 3 days later, the document arrived on his desk. He opened it, feeling both a sense of dread and an unsettling confirmation at the same time. Rebecca Collins, a product of 1989. Mom, Catherine Collins. Father, a mystery. His mother welcomed another child into the world. A daughter she had relinquished to adoption. Leah was far more than an ordinary child found in an alley. She was his kin, his own flesh and blood. David sat in shocked stillness, the fragments aligning perfectly. His mother's enigmatic disappearances during his 4th year of life. The hushed disputes between his parents. The topic that remained unspoken. He had spent his whole existence ensnared in a meticulously crafted deception. With trembling hands, he grasped his phone and entered the number he seldom called. "Mother," he spoke as soon as she picked up. "It's time for a conversation. Concerning Rebecca." The stillness on the line conveyed it all. Later that day, he found himself standing outside Elena's modest apartment, the file securely tucked under his arm. As she turned the knob and stepped inside, an unsettling feeling washed over her. "David, what has transpired?" "I've got something to share with you," he remarked. "Concerning Leah. Concerning my family." Elena guided him through the entrance. Her apartment exuded a cozy charm, a stark contrast to the cold, clinical feel of his penthouse. Images adorning the walls, literature scattered throughout. A dwelling, more than merely a space to inhabit. As he settled into the familiar embrace of her worn couch, David felt the weight of impending devastation looming over him. Yet, once the truth is caught in sight, it remains forever etched in the mind. "Leah is my niece," he started, "and I had no idea she was out there until this moment." Elena remained completely motionless, her gaze fixed and attentive, as David unfolded the details of his explanation. The discoveries made by the private investigator. The records of births. The profound bond that exists between his family and Leah. "Are you really sure?" she finally inquired, her voice scarcely rising above a whisper. David lifted the file resting on her coffee table. "When I was 4, my mother welcomed a daughter named Rebecca Collins into our family. She placed her for adoption, keeping it a secret from everyone but my father. Leah's mother was named Rebecca." Elena placed her hand over her mouth. "What makes this possible? Among all the kids in New York. I find myself pondering that very question." David tousled his hair with his fingers. "Perhaps it's not mere chance, perhaps it's... I'm unsure of the right term for it." They remained in a state of disbelief, the weight of the situation enveloping them. "What actions will you take?" Elena finally inquired. "I have to face my mother, I'll be seeing her tomorrow." Elena extended her hand towards him. It marked the first moment she took the step to bridge the distance between them. "Shall I accompany you on your journey?" The gesture, though simple, provided him with a sense of steadiness. "Absolutely, I would." The following day, they made their way to Westchester County, where Catherine Collins resided in a grand colonial house, nestled away from the road. It had been more than a year since David last paid a visit. "What a stunning location," Elena whispered as they drew near. "It's merely a house," David responded. "It was never a sanctuary." Catherine Collins opened the door, her surprise unmistakable as she laid eyes on David. Her gaze hardened as it moved to Elena. "I wasn't expecting company," she said, her tone sharp. "Elena Morales," David mentioned. "A fellow professional. Could we enter?" Catherine guided them into the sitting room, pristine and unblemished, reminiscent of a carefully curated exhibit. She remained poised, her back erect, with her hands neatly clasped. "You mentioned Rebecca on the phone," she said, diving straight in. "What about her story?" David set the photo down on the coffee table. "This is you, 3 decades past. Leah possesses this image. She claims that Rebecca was her mother." Catherine's face turned pale. At last, her flawless demeanor faltered. "Where did you come across this child?" "At this moment, that's not a priority," David responded. "What truly matters is that you deceived me throughout my entire existence. I once had a sister." "Half-sister," Catherine corrected instinctively, then pressed her lips into a firm line. "Indeed, it is true." David's voice echoed emptily. Catherine rose and made her way to the window, turning her back to them. As she spoke, her voice carried a tension laced with restrained feeling. "It was an error, a fleeting entanglement during a challenging time in my marriage. Upon learning of my pregnancy, your father and I came to a mutual decision that placing the child for adoption would be the most suitable choice. It was a topic left untouched, never to be revisited. Elena spoke softly, "You left your own daughter." Catherine pivoted, her gaze igniting with intensity. "You have no understanding of my life or the decisions I've made, Miss Morales." Elena responded calmly, "I know you have a granddaughter living on the streets. As you reside in this grand palace, David, who is this woman to address me in such a manner within my own home?" David rose to his feet. "A person who demonstrated greater kindness to your granddaughter than you ever did to your daughter." He inched nearer to his mother. "Leah is a vibrant 8 years old. Last winter, her mother, your daughter, passed away. She has been residing in a narrow passageway alongside her small companion." Catherine's fingers brushed against her throat. "This is utterly ridiculous. If what you're saying holds any weight, there are appropriate avenues to explore. Fostering and adopting children. The system that claimed your daughter." David's laughter carried a sharp edge. "The very system that kept Elena apart from her brother. That is the answer you seek." For the first time, Catherine appeared truly unsettled. "What do you want me to do?" "Recognize her," David stated plainly. "She is part of your lineage. And jeopardize it all. What about my reputation? What is the family name? Isn't that all that matters to you?" David shook his head, a wave of disdain washing over him. "Our cherished family portrait. Your entire life has been shaped by that image," Catherine retorted. "Your organization. Your network. Everything is constructed upon the legacy of the Collins name." "I'm not denying that," David's tone became gentler. "But at what price, mother? Observe us. We possess all and yet, we possess nothing simultaneously." Catherine averted her gaze once more. "I require some time for contemplation." "Think all you want," David remarked, as he picked up the file. "However, I have come to a conclusion. I will assist Leah and Maya. Whether you approve or not." The journey back to the city was serene. Elena gazed out the window, reflecting on all that she had experienced. David finally spoke, expressing his regret about his mother. "There's no need to offer an apology on her behalf." Elena faced him. "You are completely different from her, David. Am I not? I have dedicated my life to pursuing achievement, maintaining a distance from others." "Yet you paused," Elena remarked plainly. "You perceived a reality greater than your own. That truly changes everything." Upon returning to the city, they headed directly to the alley. The girls gathered closely, engrossed in one of the books David had brought along. They glanced upward, grinning at the sight of Elena and David. For a brief instant, David found himself at a loss for words. He gazed into Leah's eyes, mirroring his mother's, and was flooded with an intense wave of protectiveness that almost consumed him. "Hey," he succeeded, lowering himself to their height. "How is the book coming along?" "It's fantastic," Leah exclaimed. "The princess rescues herself, proving she doesn't require a prince at all." David chuckled, a heartfelt sound that caught him off guard. A truly remarkable tale. In the dimming glow, as they enjoyed their snacks together, David quietly vowed to himself. He would not resemble his mother. He would not abandon family, even those he had yet to discover. As they were about to part ways, Leah unexpectedly wrapped her arms around him in a warm embrace. "Are you planning to return tomorrow?" David locked eyes with Elena, the child nestled between them. "Indeed," he remarked. "I'm here to stay." 3 weeks following the clash with his mother, David found himself in his office, meticulously examining blueprints. He had engaged contractors to transform a section of his penthouse, turning the seldom-used guest wing into suitable bedrooms for Leah and Maya. The intercom emitted a sharp buzz. "Mr. Collins, your mother has arrived to visit you." David's muscles tightened. "Have her come in." Catherine Collins strode in with an air of confidence, chin held high, a designer handbag elegantly draped over her arm, every hair perfectly in place. "This situation has reached its limit, David." She spoke without a salutation. "Greetings to you as well, dear mother." He shut the blueprints with a decisive motion. "What has drawn you to this place?" "Richard Hartley reached out to me. He mentioned he spotted you at the park with two scruffy kids and a Hispanic woman." She set her purse down on his desk. "Conversations are happening. Allow them to speak. Exercise some common sense." She softened her tone. "I see that you feel a sense of duty, yet there are alternative approaches to consider. Create a trust fund. Locate a suitable foster home for them." David interjected, stating that they aren't an issue to be resolved. "Leah is your granddaughter. What about the other one? The individual who has no connection to us?" "Maya follows Leah wherever she leads," he asserted with conviction. "They come as a set." Catherine let out a deep, theatrical sigh. "This endeavor of yours jeopardizes all that we've established. The Collins name carries weight in this city." "Perhaps it ought not to," David responded. "Perhaps we've been concealing ourselves behind that title rather than embracing our true selves." "Genuine," Catherine scoffed. "Is that what your young companion has been instructing you?" David sensed his anger beginning to boil. "Elena may not be my girlfriend, but in just 3 months, she has imparted more wisdom about humanity than you have in 35 years, Catherine straightened, her expression becoming resolute. "I have tolerated this defiance of yours, David, but it stops here. It's essential that you manage this with care, or I will have no choice but to intervene." "What is the significance of that?" "I remain a member of your company's board. I still possess ties that could create significant challenges for you." For the first time, David perceived his mother with newfound clarity. Not as the daunting presence from his youth, but as a terrified woman holding on to her facade. "Are you really trying to intimidate me for assisting a child? Is that truly your own kin?" "I am safeguarding the heritage of our family." David rose to his feet. "Leave now." "What did you say?" "Leave my office, please." His voice maintained a steady yet assertive quality. "Keep your distance from Leah and Maya. They are worthy of much more than what you are providing." Catherine collected her purse, her hands quivering just a bit. "This will come back to haunt you, David." "No," he murmured softly. "For the first time ever, I believe I won't." Once she departed, David reached out to his attorney. He had to obtain legal safeguards for the girls, and without delay. That evening, while contractors toiled away on the penthouse, David found himself meeting Elena at a quaint cafe close to her apartment. "How are the updates progressing?" she inquired after placing her coffee order. "Right on track." He displayed images on his device for her to see. "The rooms are expected to be prepared by next week." Elena nodded, yet he could feel the uncertainty lingering in her demeanor. "What seems to be the issue?" She gently swirled her coffee, allowing the rich aroma to envelop her senses. "David, have you truly considered all aspects of this? Welcoming 2 children is. It's a significant undertaking." "I am aware of that." "Are you?" She gazed up at him. "The contrast between your world and theirs is striking. From my perspective. The weight of anticipation, the burden of hopes. Do you believe I'm erring in my judgment?" A pang of disappointment washed over him. "Negative." She extended her hand towards him. "Your efforts are truly remarkable. However, I have concerns about what will occur once the excitement fades. When the warnings from your mother turn into reality. When the people around you begin to act in a different manner towards you." David had not taken into account that Elena could be feeling fear. Not of his dedication to the girls, but of the potential impact his world could have on them. For her. He stated that this isn't about novelty. "I am taking this action because it aligns with my principles. Due to the fact that." He paused, uncertainty flickering in his eyes. Being with them and you makes me feel like a person rather than just a label. Elena's gaze became gentle. I simply wish to ensure that no one experiences any harm. They have endured more than enough. Indeed, you have, David remarked softly. Their eyes lingered on each other for an extended moment. Today, he finally revealed that his mother had threatened him. She mentioned that she would leverage her position against me if I didn't manage this quietly. Elena's eyes grew large with surprise. What actions will you take? I've already completed it. He took a sip of his coffee. An emergency board meeting has been scheduled for tomorrow. I will reveal all the details to them. Concerning Leah, regarding my mother's warnings, everything related. Then I'll allow them to choose whether they prefer a leader who values family or one who forsakes it for the sake of image. That's quite a gamble. It was a smile that hinted at something more. I have dedicated my life to the pursuit of wealth accumulation. Perhaps it's time for me to create something significant. Later that night, David found himself on his balcony, gazing at the twinkling city lights. His phone vibrated, signaling a message from Elena. The girls are curious if they can bring their books over to your place tomorrow. He grinned as he tapped away at the keyboard. Their stories, their illustrations, anything they desire. This will be their home as well. For the first time since he had shadowed Elena that night, David felt a sense of certainty. No matter what lay ahead, be it the preservation of his company or the loss of it all, he was at last embracing decisions that mirrored his true self, rather than conforming to the expectations of others. In that moment, he understood, it was the essence of true liberation. The board meeting unfolded more favorably than David had anticipated. Following the complete narrative regarding Leah and his familial background, the majority of the group found themselves aligning with him instead of his mother. Catherine burst out, yet the harm had already been inflicted. Her sway waned as the reality emerged. Now standing in his freshly transformed penthouse, David took in the alterations. The stark minimalism was gently enhanced by vibrant rugs and inviting lighting. 2 bedrooms awaited, one adorned with stars on the ceiling for Maya, the other filled with bookshelves for Leah. A significant departure from their alley refuge, yet he endeavored to create an atmosphere that felt inviting instead of daunting. The sound of his phone ringing pierced the silence. Elena's name illuminated the display. We're downstairs, she remarked. The girls feel a sense of unease. I will make my way down. In the lobby, he discovered the trio gathered closely together. Leah and Maya held on to their small backpacks, which contained only their few belongings. Elena positioned herself between them, her hand resting gently on Maya's shoulder. Greetings, David remarked, lowering himself to the ground. Are you excited to explore your new spaces? Maya nodded with excitement, while Leah remained hesitant. It's perfectly fine to feel scared, David reassured her. This represents a significant transformation. What if we don't belong in this place? Leah inquired softly. David beamed with delight. We'll make adjustments here until it suits you perfectly. The ascent in the elevator was devoid of sound. As the doors swung open to reveal the penthouse, Maya let out a gasp. Is everything here yours? She inquired, her eyes filled with wonder. Ours, David amended. Allow me to guide you on a little tour. As the girls ventured forth, their early reluctance transformed into a thrill of discovery. Maya leaped onto her bed, laughter bubbling up inside her. Leah glided her fingers along the spines of the books that now adorned her shelves. Am I allowed to read any of these? She inquired. They belong to you, David responded. That is your collection of books. Elena lingered in the shadows, observing the unfolding drama with a nuanced gaze. What are your thoughts? David inquired softly. It's just right for them, she remarked. You've considered every detail. Yet, there was an element in her tone that caused him to hesitate. However, that doesn't apply to you. Elena averted her gaze. It's time for me to head out. Please take your time to get comfortable. Please join us for dinner. David brushed his fingers against her arm gently. A pizza was ordered by us. After a moment of uncertainty, she gave a slight nod. Understood. The evening unfolded with a delightful charm. Gathered around the expansive dining table, the girls animatedly discussed their new rooms. Following dinner, David assisted them in arranging their sparse belongings, as Elena readied their bath. Later, as the girls drifted into slumber, David and Elena found themselves on the balcony, gazing at the sprawling city beneath them. "Thank you," he expressed, "for all that you have done. Your support made this possible for me." Elena offered a smile, yet it failed to illuminate her eyes. "They will find joy in this place. Yet there seems to be a weight on your mind." She let out a soft sigh, her gaze drifting over the skyline. "It's not as you perceive. I hold no jealousy or resentment. I'm merely anxious." "Concerning what topic?" She waved her hand toward the penthouse. "The realm you inhabit. It stands apart from their understanding, as well as from my own." David rested against the railing. "Do you really believe they won't adjust?" "Indeed, they will. Kids possess an incredible strength to bounce back." She pivoted to confront him. "I find myself feeling concerned about my own well-being. I find myself perplexed." Elena embraced herself tightly. "Since our paths crossed, I found myself drawn into your gravitational pull, David. The realm of affluence and power that surrounds you. Yet, I feel out of place in this setting. I shall never do that." "What leads you to that conclusion?" "Just look at me," she said with a straightforward tone. "I was raised in foster care. I rotate between the same 3 outfits for work. I keep leftovers for several days. Your mother regarded me as if I were nothing more than grime beneath her shoe. My mother's opinion holds no significance. Yet it truly does. In your realm, it certainly does." Elena's voice took on a gentle quality. "Your well-being matters to me, David. Exceeding my limits. Yet, I worry about losing my sense of self amidst all of this. Of transforming into a version of myself that feels foreign, all in the name of belonging." David stepped nearer, gently grasping her hands in his. "I always hoped you would remain just as you are. Your genuine nature is what initially captivated me. That's what you claim at this moment. And I will express it again tomorrow and the day that follows." He grasped her hands tightly. "Elena, this past month has been the most genuine experience I've ever had. You revealed to me what is truly important. You assisted me in rediscovering my essence." She gazed up at him. Fragility reflected in her gaze. "What occurs when the excitement fades away? When does aiding those in need lose its excitement? Is that truly your perception of this situation? A charity initiative from a wealthy individual?" He shook his head in disbelief. "Elena, I'm transforming my whole existence for Leah and Maya and for my own sake because you revealed to me that life holds deeper meaning beyond mere success and outward appearances. I'm frightened," she confessed. "Not about you, but about us. Regarding the subsequent events." David let go of her hands and took a step back, allowing her some room. "I'm not requesting anything you're unprepared to offer," he stated. "Yet, I desire your presence in my life, in our shared journey. Not as a worker or a recipient of goodwill, but as your true self, precisely as you are." Elena inhaled deeply. "I require some time to assess whether this new setup is effective, ensuring that the girls are genuinely content in this environment." "Feel free to take as long as you require," David remarked. "I'm here to stay." In the stillness of the moment, as they gazed at the twinkling city lights, David came to a significant realization. In his efforts to build a sanctuary for Leah and Maya, he inadvertently crafted a genuine refuge for himself as well. A space not defined by riches, but by a sense of community. Regardless of Elena's final decision to join or not, he would always hold deep gratitude for the path she had illuminated for him. 3 months went by. As autumn faded into winter, the penthouse underwent a remarkable transformation with each week that passed. Vibrant creations adorned what were once immaculate walls. Playthings filled areas that once showcased conceptual art pieces. Joyful sounds filled spaces that had previously been untouched by noise. Leah and Maya had adapted with impressive ease. They were enrolled in a nearby private institution. David's impact transcended the typical enrollment challenges, and they were flourishing in their studies. Maya's creative abilities flourished under skilled guidance, while Leah consumed literature with remarkable speed. Elena made nearly daily visits. Even with her own apartment, she had woven herself into the fabric of their unconventional family. She assisted with assignments, prepared meals that evoked memories of their mother, and offered the emotional support that David, despite his best efforts, was still in the process of mastering. This evening held a unique significance. The girls attended a supervised sleepover with their classmates. They departed, leaving David and Elena in the penthouse, isolated from the world outside. David took it upon himself to craft dinner, meticulously adhering to a recipe he had honed over the past weeks. Nothing overly fancy, just pasta paired with a straightforward sauce, the sort of comforting dish Elena would prepare. As they sat dining on the balcony, despite the December chill, Elena gazed around at the twinkling city lights. "It's stunning up here," she remarked. "This view never fails to captivate me." David confessed that he once overlooked it, just as he did with everything else. Elena beamed. "Not anymore." "Indeed," he concurred. "Not anymore." In a serene hush, they dined, the city buzzing softly beneath them. Elena finally remarked that the girls appeared to be happy. "Indeed, they are. You wouldn't believe how Leah was yesterday, passionately detailing the solar system as if she were the one who had unearthed it all." Elena chuckled softly. "She shines with such brilliance. Both of them are." "It was due to you," David remarked. "You inspired them to seek knowledge, even in the absence of resources." Elena gave a slight shake of her head. "I simply provided them with books. The remainder was handled by them." "You offered them so much more than just stories, Elena. You instilled hope in them." David placed his fork on the table. "You instilled hope in me as well." Across the table, their gazes intertwined. 3 months of deliberate separation, of prioritizing the girls over their own needs, had forged an unexpectedly powerful bond between them. Elena spoke softly, "I've been doing a lot of thinking. Regarding my words from that evening. Concerning feelings of alienation." She gave a slight nod. "Fear gripped me. Not only of your world, but also of the emotions I hold for you. What might occur if I permitted myself to invest too deeply in my feelings?" David paused, allowing her the room to elaborate. "In recent months," she continued on. "Observing you with the girls. Witnessing the transformation you've made in your life for their sake. It revealed something significant to me." "What is that?" "The issue isn't the wealth itself. It's how individuals engage with it." She offered a faint smile. "You have harnessed yours to foster security, possibility, and affection." David expressed his efforts. "I have committed numerous errors. Everyone does." Elena extended her hand across the table, gently grasping his. "Yet your intentions are commendable. That is what truly counts." David experienced a wave of optimism. "What does this imply?" "I no longer feel fear." Her gaze was sharp, unwavering. "Beyond your realm. None of us." Following dinner, they settled onto the couch. The skyline of the city sparkles through the glass panes. David had never envisioned his penthouse could evoke such emotions. Cozy. Resided in. A genuine sanctuary. "I have a question for you," he said, turning to face Elena. She arched an eyebrow. "That seems quite significant." "Indeed, it is." He grasped her hands gently in his own. I understand how much you cherish your freedom, your home, your personal area. However, the girls feel your absence when you're away. I feel the same way. Elena's eyes grew large with surprise. Are you suggesting that I should move in? He gently squeezed her hands and urged her to think about it. Not in the role of caretaker or employee, but as whatever that signifies. That's quite an impressive milestone, David. I understand. And if you're not prepared, I completely get it, he smiled. There is plenty of time ahead of us. Elena surveyed the penthouse with a keen eye. On the refrigerator, the children's drawings cling with a magnetic charm. At the eclectic assortment of throw pillows she had assisted in selecting. At the family photos now proudly showcased on walls that had previously been adorned with only abstract art. Do you know what frightened me the most? She asked. It wasn't about the opulence. I found myself slipping away. Transforming oneself to blend into your reality. What comes next? Her eyes sparkled with feeling. It has become clear to me that I was mistaken. This world no longer belongs to you. It belongs to us. A creation born from our collaboration. She inched nearer to him on the couch. What you have accomplished for those girls, David, is truly remarkable. Ultimately, what holds significance is that you refrain from attempting to alter them. You transformed yourself, your surroundings, your existence. That change was sparked by you, he murmured gently. Perhaps. Elena caressed his face softly. Yet, it was your choice. Each and every day. Select it. In the serene ambience of the penthouse, with the city sprawling beneath them like a tapestry of stars, Elena gazed at him, her eyes filled with unwavering conviction. It's no longer the opulence that frightens me. It's erasing my essence. Yet in your presence, I sense the freedom to remain true to who I am. David gently placed his hand over hers. That's precisely why I became enamored with you. I wish for you to remain as you are. I simply wish for you to remain. As their lips finally connected, a spark ignited between them. Softly inquiring, then confident. This is not the conclusion, but rather the start of something new. A decision born not of duty or situation, but from clarity and authenticity. As they finally separated, Elena leaned her forehead against his. Indeed, she murmured. I will remain. Outside, snow started to descend, blanketing the balcony in a soft layer of white. Within the cozy embrace of the home they had built side by side, a fresh and cherished bond began to flourish. A family formed not through blood ties or duty, but through the bonds of choice and affection. The summer evening draped Manhattan in shades of gold and amber. On the penthouse terrace, now adorned with potted plants and inviting furniture, Elena sat alongside Leah and Maya, observing the sunset as it painted long shadows over the city. Will the stars be shining bright tonight, do you think? Maya inquired, capturing the skyline in her fresh artist's notebook, a present from David for her 11th birthday just last week. Perhaps not a lot, Elena responded, gently threading her fingers through Maya's hair. The brilliance of the city lights is overwhelming, yet we shall gaze upon them regardless. Leah, at the age of 10 and already exhibiting the grace of the young woman she was destined to be, glanced up from her book. This weekend, we might visit Grandma Catherine's place in Westchester. One can observe a greater number of stars in that location. Elena couldn't help but smile at the ease with which Leah mentioned Catherine now. Over the last 6 months, there had been a thoughtful mending of the relationship between David and his mother, not flawless, but sincere. Catherine had at last recognized her granddaughter, and while their bond was still fragile, it was mending. Elena remarked that it was a good idea. We'll inquire with David once he returns home. As if called forth by his name, the elevator doors slid open, and David emerged onto the terrace, balancing 3 cups of hot chocolate in his hands, undeterred by the summer heat. It had evolved into a cherished custom, no matter the time of year. Apologies for my tardiness, he remarked, placing the tray gently on the table. The meeting extended beyond the scheduled time. Maya leaped up to embrace him. Even without a biological link to David, her connection with him had developed to be as profound as the one he shared with Leah. Affection, they had all come to understand, transcended mere genetic ties. "We were just discussing a trip to Grandma's this weekend," Leah remarked, accepting her cup with a grateful smile, to gaze at the stars. David settled beside Elena, his fingers intertwining with hers as if drawn by an unseen force. "That sounds absolutely ideal. My mother reached out yesterday and mentioned that she's organizing a barbecue." Elena arched an eyebrow. Catherine Collins throwing a barbecue? Well, this is a first. David chuckled heartily. She is making an effort in her unique manner. They lingered in a cozy quiet, observing as the final glimmers of daylight faded beyond the towering buildings. The previous year had transformed each of them in ways they never could have foreseen. The journey for the girls, moving from homelessness to their new life, was a blend of trials and enchantment. Nightmares haunted them, anxieties crept in, and waves of overwhelming guilt washed over them for their good fortune. Yet, amidst it all, there was also a sense of healing, moments of laughter, and a gradual restoration of trust. For David, the experience had been just as significant. The driven CEO continued to lead his company, relentlessly seeking excellence, yet guided by a new perspective. Board meetings were arranged to coincide with school events. Business trips were more concise. Achievement was defined not by possessions, but by experiences. Maya's inaugural art exhibition, Leah's triumph in the debate competition, serene nights such as this one. And for Elena, maybe the most unexpected shift of all. She held on to her position at the agency, turning down David's proposal for financial assistance. "I must stand beside you as your equal," she asserted, "not as someone you look after." He recognized her strength, appreciating her autonomy, while secretly longing to offer her the world. "I have news," David said, shattering the cozy stillness. "I had a conversation with Judge Martinez today." Elena's hold on his hand grew firmer. After months of effort, they had finally reached this pivotal moment, skillfully maneuvering through the intricate legal system to solidify their bond with the girls. "And," she inquired, barely allowing herself to dream, David's smile spoke volumes. "The adoption papers have received approval. Every single one." Maya's eyes grew large with surprise. "Are you suggesting?" "It's official," David declared, his voice heavy with feeling. "Both of you. If that's still your desire, naturally." Leah gently shut her book, her demeanor reflecting a maturity that belied her age. "And Elena as well, both of you." Elena nodded, her eyes brimming with tears. "We, as your legal guardians." The girls shared a glance, a moment of unspoken understanding forged through their experiences on the streets. In that moment, without a word exchanged, they propelled themselves toward David and Elena, weaving together a chaotic mix of limbs, emotions, and joy. "We're truly a family now," Maya whispered, "officially and all." "We always were," David remarked, embracing them closely. The document simply served to formalize things for everyone involved. Once the girls had settled into slumber, their earlier excitement fading into dreams, David and Elena made their way back to the terrace. The evening air was gentle, the urban glow resembling a galaxy scattered beneath them. "Do you find joy in your life?" David inquired, drawing Elena nearer. She leaned closer, pondering the question with a depth he had grown to admire in her. "I never envisioned this existence," she finally remarked, "not even in my most extravagant fantasies." "Is that an affirmative?" She pivoted to meet his gaze, her eyes shimmering with the glow of the city lights. "It goes beyond that. It embodies wholeness. It's akin to discovering fragments of my identity that I was unaware were absent." David nodded, fully grasping the situation. "Once, I experienced a profound emptiness, encircled by the world yet feeling utterly disconnected. What comes next? Now I'm intertwined with all that is significant." He pressed his lips to hers gently. "Greetings to everyone." Elena leaned her head against his chest, attuned to the rhythm of his heartbeat. The path had been fraught with challenges. There were changes, miscommunications, instances of uncertainty. She continued to keep her apartment, even if she seldom occupied it, a fallback she wasn't entirely prepared to let go of. David recognized this as well, never pushing her to adhere to conventional norms. Their bond unfolded in a distinctive cadence, forging a connection more profound than anything either had known previously. "Today, I received another letter from my brother," Elena said softly. After years of searching, she had finally found him 6 months ago, residing in California with his adoptive family, content and thriving. Their reunion was filled with deep feelings yet fraught with complexities. Years apart forged a gap that would require time to close. "How is Michael faring?" "That's great. He's considering a visit during the Christmas season." Her lips curved into a smile. "He desires to meet the girls." "And you?" David nodded, satisfied. Another bond mended, another chapter concluding. In the Manhattan sky, a unique spectacle unfolds. One solitary star shines brightly, cutting through the urban luminescence. Maya would surely feel let down for having missed it. Elena gestured skyward and urged, "Make a wish." David gazed at her, at the terrace that had evolved from a lifeless display to the very essence of their home. In the chambers beyond, 2 girls rested peacefully, lost in dreams of stars and futures now attainable. He stated matter-of-factly that he possessed all he could ever desire. Elena's smile shone brightly in the gentle glow. "I feel the same way." They lingered in that embrace, gazing at the city that had united their paths. Distinct realms that had intersected, evolved, and ultimately fused into a creation neither could have brought forth independently. The terrace where affection thrived, not through chance or duty, but through deliberate choice, day after day, moment by moment, eternally. Have you felt the impact of David and Elena's journey, transforming from distant lives to a family forged through choice and love? Their narrative serves as a poignant reminder that genuine connections surpass the confines of wealth and status, illustrating how real relationships can profoundly alter our lives in unforeseen manners. We are eager to know your insights on this contemporary romance tale. From where are you tuning in? We'd love to hear from you. Share your favorite moment or what struck a chord with you in the comments below. If this emotional journey resonated with you, we invite you to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more uplifting stories that honor the strength of human connection.